Hi, this is John Darst. This is our first episode of Twinkle Tech. I'm with Darst Light Show in Paris, Texas, and we do a big annual light show and like to share some of the things that we learn along the way. So today I'm going to tell you about adding a WLED light bulb into Light-O-Rama. It's a pretty simple process. There are a few things you need to be aware of, but the first thing I'm going to do is show you what we're doing and the effect we're trying to create um, for using this bulb. So with that, let me switch over, and this will be a video or a short clip of our show, and I will point out as we go what we're looking for. So basically what we have is we use a WLED based light bulb in our porch lights. So we already have hardwired 120 volt 819 or Edison style bulbs on our porch, left and right sides. We also have them at our garage. And I wanted to basically be able to turn them off during the show and tie that into the light show sequence. Once I tried these out, I figured out they could actually keep up with the show, and they did a pretty good job, even as a wireless controller. So learning that, proceeded to actually program them into the show. So you'll get a brief view if you watch kind of where my cursor goes. So after the screen change, right up here, you can see that color change right in the middle. That color change, you can see the mounted lamps flash in sync, and you can kind of see a little bit here off to the side where the color changes with the rest of the floodlights on the house. So, like I say, it's a pretty neat effect um, that isn't something that you see a lot of times. So we get several comments about it. We've talked about it in training, where we were just at the Florida Mega Mini, talked about it there, and people really interested because it's not something you see very often. So it gives you a bit of a unique element. Um, so what I'm going to show you is a couple of things. So um, first thing we need to talk about is, this is a wireless control. So it's using WLED, and in that WLED setup, um, basically your computer, your show controller, has to be able to talk to that wireless device. So where typically your show network might be just your PC talking to a switch, and then the switch talking to E131 controllers. In this case, you actually have to have a wireless router involved, or at a minimum, a wireless access point. Now, I won't get into all those details depending on how network savvy you are. That's not the purpose of this video. For most people, that would be a wireless router. The way I have mine set up is I have a single dedicated wireless router just for my show, and it only really wirelessly talks to a few devices. Uh, the, that keeps things simple. Even though I could tie it into my home network, I just prefer to have them separate, mainly for security reasons. But again, not the purpose of today's video. Um, First, you have to have the wireless capability. The next thing is you need to make sure that your wireless network is going to work. So I'm going to go through the setup today. But before you go jump and buy a whole bunch of these light bulbs, for maybe lamps that you have or different things around the house, buy one or two, do some testing, and make sure that that is what you want, the effect that you want, and that you have a good wireless signal, and it can keep up with your show wherever you're wanting to use it at, because that will be critical. Your signal strength does play into this. Now, I've found that the signal strength on these is pretty solid. I haven't had any connection issues, and I've been running these outside every day. I run my landscape lighting year round, and it's been for about 2.5 years now. And again, haven't had any issues, knock on wood, and hopefully that remains. So that's some things you want to keep in mind. The other, if you're doing this with Light-O-Rama, you will, depending on what kind of effects you're trying to use, or if you're using motion effects, then you'll have to look at your license level and all those kind of things. But to do basic E131 controls, you could treat this as a a dumb RGB style landscape light or like a floodlight, and everything should work fine. So we'll go through that setup again here in just a second. So let me switch over and show you. Was that not? Okay. Okay. Um, so basically, what we can do is I'm going to show you a couple of things. Once I've got my bulb configured, it's going to show up one way, but we're going to kind of skip a little bit of this, and I'm going to show you about the bulb first. So on our Athom.Tech website, so this is where I bought my bulbs from, and these are imported, so they do have to, ship on slow boat or whatever to get here. But at Athom.Tech, you can look for a WLED bulb, and I think it'll be under products and then WLED, and then there's actually several options here. So you've got some WLED based controllers and then bulbs. So they've got candelabra, they've got a 15 watt and a 7 watt. I use the 7 watt and have not had any issues. Like I said, you could see it there on the video. They show up very clear. Even at the 7 watt, I actually derate mine just a little bit because there have been reports at full current that these tend to fail. And I've been running these outside for 2.5 years and haven't had any failures. So I'll show you that when we get into the WLED setup. But anyway, so it's a 19 style bulb. So it's the screw-in style, and not a whole lot to it. It comes with WLED already installed, so you don't have to do any software or firmware configuration on the bulb or anything like that. Basically, we just have to configure our network. The other thing I wanted to show you here on the Athom homepage is they have the sequence for how to reset the bulb. Now, your bulb should come from the factory already reset and ready, but just in case, if for whatever reason you can't follow the steps that I outlined, then you might need to go through this reset sequence. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to screw your bulb in, you're going to turn it on, and then you're going to look for a Wi-Fi hotspot called WLED underscore blank or XXXXX, where all the X's represent some series of alphanumeric characters. When you do that, you're actually connecting from your phone directly to the bulb. Now, I do suggest doing this on your phone because now you can do it on your desktop if you have Wi-Fi on your desktop, but typically you're going to do this setup on your phone, connect it to your home network or your Light Show network, and then once you've got that done, then you can do the rest of the setup on your Light Show network or on your PC for your Light Show. So do this sequence if you have to, but if you're able to just turn on your phone and you see the WLED hotspot, you don't have to worry about going through this reset sequence. That's only if you don't find this hotspot when you first turn on the bulb. The other thing to keep in mind is do one bulb at a time. So if you're setting up multiple bulbs and you turn them all on at the same time, you're going to have a whole bunch of these WLED Wi-Fi hotspots appear, and you're not going to know which one is which because there's no identifier on the bulb. So anyway, you connect to this WLED hotspot, and then it's going to show you a screen basically like this. Let me make it a little bit smaller and it'll look more like a phone screen. So on your phone, let's see, your screen is going to look something like this and just this left side. And basically what you can do is you can then, you're talking to the bulb, you don't even have to do any setup at this point. You could make your bulb blue or make your bulb red or make it white. Make it orange. You can kind of do some very basic things with it. You can even get down into gradients. You can do some basic animations where it'll change colors. So if we go over here to effects, you can do all kinds of different things with that bulb without ever connecting it to Light-O-Rama or any other software. This is all built into the logic on the bulb itself. The beauty of that is if you want to use these in the off season and you don't want to run your show PC in the off season, then this will operate as a normal smart light bulb that you can connect to wirelessly, and you could make it red for Valentine's Day and green for St. Patrick's Day and white every other day of the year, or however you want to do it. Um, and that will work without any additional programming. Okay, so it's really nifty that way. Um, the other thing, and I'll mention this again later, but basically with that override screen that was showing up, basically means that Light-O-Rama is talking to the bulb right now. So I had to override that to get to the normal controls. If I turn the light bulb off and back on now, Light-O-Rama is going to take back over. Or if I stop my Light-O-Rama show and start it again, um, then it will take back over. So your kind of seamless integration between being able to use this as a normal smart light bulb versus use it with Light-O-Rama, everything tends to play nice together. So on your first setup, to kind of go back to that, you're going to see the screen look like this, and you're going to need to go up here to config. The first thing you're going to want to do is go to your Wi-Fi setup, and you're going to give it your SSID for whatever your wireless network is. You're going to type in your wireless password. I suggest going ahead and entering a static IP. Again, if you're not familiar with static IPs and all that, that's not the purpose of this video. So there will be other training videos where either I'll talk about that, or you can do a little bit of YouTube searching to figure out static or dynamic, or kind of how you want to handle that. But I recommend using a static IP address, and then obviously you'll have a gateway and a subnet mask to go with that. And that's it from a network standpoint. And once I do this, then from any PC or phone that's connected to Darst Light Show, then I'll be able to directly connect to this light bulb. So basically I enter all my network credentials, I go down here and hit save. The light bulb is going to reboot, and then from rebooting, you'll be able to, again, connect to it from any device on that same Wi-Fi network. So if my phone's connected to the network, I could connect to the bulb. If my show PC is on that network, I could connect directly to the bulb, and that's actually what I'm doing here. So the screen that you see is my show player PC. So so I've got Light-O-Rama control panel running down here, and that's what you're seeing on the screen. So I'm connected to this light bulb from my Darst Light Show connected show player PC. So once I've got it connected to the network, then basically what I have to do is I have to configure the E131 or DMX universe for this bulb. Okay, so that's going to be down here under sync interfaces. And again, in this video, we're not getting into all the details of what is E131 and what is a DMX universe. So there's other places to find that information. So I'm kind of assuming a base level of knowledge here. But on this screen, you're going to want to scroll down until you get to Network DMX Input. You're going to make sure the type is E1.31. You're going to define your universe. Now, on this bulb, for example, I'm using universe number 1. And then you're going to define your start address. And typically for this application, that's going to be 1. Now, if you're using this with Light-O-Rama, due to your Light-O-Rama configuration, you're going to want to stick with 1 universe per bulb. So if I have 4 bulbs, I can make it universes 1, 2, 3, and 4. I can make it 80 and 90 and 95 and 98. It can really be anything you want it to be, as long as you're not using those universes for anything else in your show. But you will want to remember this, and you will want to make sure you're not using it somewhere else, okay? Because this will become important when we go look at our Light-O-Rama configuration. So let me back out of here, and what I'm going to do is show you, if I connect to one of my other bulbs, what it looks like initially. So now you can see this screen. It says WLED is receiving live E131 data from 192.168.99.253, which is my show player PC. So it's basically saying, hey, this other device out there is already sending me information. If I hit override, then I'm going to be able to take control and I can do whatever I want to do. And my show player, even though it's sending information, this WLED bulb will ignore it until my show player PC starts sending it new information, which would basically be the start of a new show. Or I could override until reboot. And then basically I'm going to maintain control of this light bulb until I cycle power or I turn it off and back on. So that's basically my two options. But otherwise, if this screen is a good indicator that this bulb is receiving data from Light-O-Rama, and it should be doing whatever Light-O-Rama is telling it to, as long as you have everything configured properly. So that's it on the WLED side. Again, it's pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the Light-O-Rama side. So over here in the Light-O-Rama control panel, I'm going to go in to my networks tab. So typically you would see controller setup, but I'm going to go to networks. And I've got all of my different controllers listed here. Some of these are offline, some of them are online because, again, it's show season or not show season, so I'm running some things and not others. But we can see this DMX E131 connected bulb. And then my 192.168.99.80, 81, 82, 83. So that's my IP addresses from up here where I was talking to the device. So I started at 80, which is my north bulb at the front porch, my south bulb at the front porch, garage west, garage east. Yes, I use directions to make sure I know which one I'm talking about. And if we remember, when I was looking at 80, let me go back to it, and I'll go to my config, sync interface. I set on 80 that is start universe 1. So over here in my configuration for front north bulb, it is universe 1 and its IP address 192.168.99.80. Port stays at default. And that's it. So basically this is my configuration, and Light-O-Rama treats this as an entire controller. It doesn't know how many devices are on there or how much control is on there. It just knows I'm sending a universe worth of information to 192.168.99.80. And that's it on this part. So you have to set up one network for each light bulb or one DMX universe for each light bulb. And then in Light-O-Rama, we will look at my Christmas preview. And, so you can see floodlights here on my house, right? So these big white floodlights. And then I've got these lights at my front porch. So that's dumb lamp front entry north, dumb lamp front entry south, and then garage east and garage west. Okay, so on my preview, I can see these bulbs, and they are configured just like I would a floodlight. So let's go look at one of these. So front entry north, this is a RGB pixel. It uses RGB channel order, so nothing special there. It is a bulb with one node because it's only one RGB device. Go over here and we configure it as DMX. Start universe of 1, start channel of 1. That's it. Now I can control this in my sequencer just like an RGB floodlight. So if I go out of here, I don't want to save changes. I'm going to open up, see, this is the song I was playing in that video earlier, so it'd be a good example. Now I've got different groupings of devices set up, so I'll have to show you in here. But so I've got a group called RGB Landscape, and if I go into my props, then I'll find front entry north and south, garage east and west, and if I scroll over, well, no, I guess I've got all those in motion effects, so I'm not going to see anything there. Let me see, where do I have those programmed at on this song? I don't remember. See, I should have prepared this in advance. Here we go. They're probably in this group. Of course, I'm going to lie, and I must be doing those as part of the all props group. That's why you're not seeing it. But if I just play with this a little bit, so I could say on my front entry north, I'm going to go in here at the beginning of the song and I'm going to give it a color, and I want it to be, let's say, blue. So now I'm going to create and draw that blue color right here. You can see my little light show up, and now when I play, I can see, oh, there's my front entry light turn blue. So again, it shows up just like a floodlight. You program it just like a single dumb RGB element by just giving it a color on your sequencer. And obviously you can do fades, you can make it part of a group to do motion effects, all those different things, just like you would any other dumb RGB device. So to recap that, your steps are going to be just like it showed on this WLED screen. You're going to connect to your light, reset it if necessary. You're going to connect to WLED underscore XXXXX. Once you're connected, you're going to go to config is what you're going to start with. Go to Wi-Fi setup. You're going to configure your network to match whatever your light show network is. We're going to go back, and then we're going to go to sync interfaces, and this is where we configure network DMX input. We got to configure E131, start universe 1, start address 1, mode is multi RGB. Well, it could be single RGB, either one of those will work. And that's it. That's all of your configuration. You don't need to worry about any of this other stuff. A whole lot of options here because WLED is actually really powerful for what it is. But that's all of your configuration. So let me switch back over here. So now you get to see my ugly mug again, and I just wanted to say thanks for your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, or you can easily find us on Facebook. You can follow us for future videos, and if you want to keep up to date with what's going on the Light Show, Facebook is the best place for that. All right. Thanks for your time. Have a good day.